Let's shift our focus now to the latest on talks between the United States and the Ukraine in Saudi Arabia that aimed at bringing a halt to the ongoing war between Moscow and Kyiv in the heart of Europe. The 8-hour-long dialogue in Jeddah could possibly lead to the first ceasefire in more than 3 years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Here are the top takeaways from the Jeddah talks. Now, the biggest headline is that Ukraine has accepted an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia, proposed by Washington. Tuesday's talks were the first official meeting between Ukraine and the US since the White House spat between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky.
Today we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. That's the offer. The offer is to stop the shooting. The goal here is the only way out to end this war is to negotiate out of it. There's no military solution to this war.
The second takeaway is that the ceasefire proposal accepted by Ukraine covers the entire front line of the fighting with Russia, not just the air and sea. With Ukraine signed up, the pressure is now on the Kremlin. The third takeaway is that the ball is now in Moscow's court, as it will decide whether to accept Trump's plan to bring a temporary halt to the Ukraine war. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says it was up to the US to now convince Russia.
During today's talks, the American side proposed taking a first step forward, establishing a full ceasefire for 30 days. Not just stopping missiles, drones, and bombs, not just ensuring security in the Black Sea, but implementing a complete ceasefire along the entire front line. Ukraine welcomes this proposal. We see it as a positive proposal and are ready to take this step. The American side understands our arguments and accepts our proposals. I want to thank President Trump for the constructive nature of the dialogue between our teams.
Hopefully we'll take this offer now to the Russians. And we hope that they'll say yes to peace. The ball is now in their court. And I think today Ukraine has taken a concrete step in that regard. We hope the Russians will reciprocate. And our hope is that the Russians will say yes, that they will also agree. So the shooting will stop, the killing will stop, the dying will stop, and the talks can begin about how to end this war permanently in a way that's acceptable and enduring for both sides.
Washington says the plan would be delivered to Russia through multiple channels. Welcoming the decision, US President Donald Trump vowed to speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin. These talks are likely to take place this week.
Now we have to go to Russia and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. I think it's a very big, I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz, is due to meet his Russian counterpart in the coming days. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, also plans to visit Moscow this week to meet with Vladimir Putin.
They made concrete steps and concrete proposals, not only accepting our proposal for a full ceasefire, which you can see the details of which are in our joint statement that we released together, but we also got into substantive details on how this war is going to permanently end. I will talk to my Russian counterpart in the coming days. Secretary Rubio will be with G7 foreign ministers in the next couple of days. We have the NATO Secretary General in the White House on Thursday, and we'll take the process forward from there.
The sixth key takeaway is US immediately lifting its restrictions on military aid and intelligence sharing after the high-stakes Jeddah talks. Following the Oval Office encounter between Trump and Zelensky, the US cut off intelligence sharing and weapons shipments to Ukraine. underlining Trump's willingness to pressure Kyiv as he pivots to a conciliatory approach to Moscow. Now, the seventh big takeaway is on the minerals deal. Washington and Kyiv have said they agreed to conclude as soon as possible a comprehensive agreement for developing Ukraine's critical mineral resources. The deal would give the US a 50% stake in revenues from the sale of Ukraine's mineral wealth. The eighth key takeaway is that there could be yet another White House encounter between US President Donald Trump and Ukraine's Zelensky. Trump said he would invite Zelensky back to the White House. Now, hours after Ukraine's declaration on accepting a 30-day ceasefire, Russia launched an air attack on its capital, Kyiv. Air raid alerts were issued in 10 regions in Kyiv, and strikes were also reported in Kharkiv. On Tuesday, Ukraine also launched its biggest drone attack yet on Moscow, showing Kyiv can also land major blows amid a steady stream of Russian attacks. But Ukraine's battlefield positions have been under heavy pressure, particularly in Russia's Kursk region, where Moscow's forces have launched a push to flush out Kyiv's troops. Ukraine had been trying to hold a patch of this land as a bargaining chip. It remains to be seen how ready Vladimir Putin is for any peace deal, even in the current scenario, where Donald Trump seems to be requiring more sacrifices from Ukraine than from Russia.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogan, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.